Hello, magic muses, witches, heathens. Welcome back to As Above, So Below. Today we're going to be chatting about familiars. And this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. And the process of finding a familiar or the familiar finding you is very personal. And you can have multiple familiars, and they can be cats, dogs, toads, rats. You can have trees as familiars, but what the intent and purpose of having a familiar is the familiar helps aid the witch in magical practices. And it really is a soul bond and it's a soul connection. So for me, for instance, when my husband and I got our dog, Bruce, he was really kind of the first familiar that I really felt. And it was interesting because he was black, he was a pit bull. And he really was like my shadow. He was my soul dog. And when he passed about 3 years ago, that was the most intense loss that I have ever felt. And it was a grief that it was so hard for me to overcome. I lost so much weight. My cat was, really having a lot of anxiety. I thought that at the time it may have been something to do with her being out in the grass, but even she picked up on the stress of his passing, of my stress. And it's so interesting to look back at that and be like, wow, this connection was so profound. And you can have that with your animals, and familiars are more bonded than just pets. So for me, for example, with my cat Selena, that was a very divine orchestration. And it happened when I was getting a rat for my other familiar, Lydia. She's a snake. And something just kept telling me, go look at the cats, go look at the cats. And I actually purposely don't look at the cats when I go to the pet store because I have a soft spot for kitties. If I want to take all of them home. But this time it was different. There was that voice in my head, just go look at the cats. So after I get my, the food for Lydia, I go back over to these cages and I just see this black kitty, and she has these big green eyes and she looks like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to hold this cat. And they took her out of her cage, plopped her in my arms, and she just started purring and purring and purring. And I called my husband. I was like, so I know that this wasn't planned, but this cat is coming home with us. I can't tell you why, but she's just gonna be a part of the family now. So when she came home, she didn't make a peep in her cat carrier. It was just like, she was just looking at me like, okay, this is cool. And we get home and she was just so cuddly, so warm. And then her and my dog started to, I don't think Bruce was never really around cats, so we had to take a little bit of time with that. But eventually they grew to be like brother and sister. So his name was Bruce, like Bruce Wayne from Batman, and hers is Selena, like Selena from Catwoman, but also named after the moon goddess Selene. So, and I can tell with her that she specifically came into my life to help aid me in my practical magic, because every time that I do a spell or I do a reading, she is right there. She is laying on top of my tarot cards. She hops on my altar, and I have some some branches and some stuff from nature on my altar, and she will actually sit there and she will pat at it. And she is so in tune with the subtle vibrations of magic. It's so interesting. And I remember the other day I was asking Spirit, I'm like, hey, if this is a path that I need to continue to go down, please send me a sign, a clear sign out in the 3D world that this is the right path. And not even 5 minutes after that, my cat was looking outside, and at the time I couldn't tell what she was looking at, but I could tell that something caught her eye. And I looked out, and she was looking at this big, beautiful hawk. And I was like, that's the sign. And if I didn't see her looking outside, I would have missed it. So that's her right now. Those are areas where familiars can really help and assist you on your path. And back in olden days, they would actually demonize familiars. So they would say that they were demons, or they were assisting the witch in connecting with the devil. And these are just things that are just not true. And the bond that you build with your familiar is unlike anything else. And that's another thing too, is you can have a different bond with your familiar. Hang on just one second. Come here. Come here. Come on. Here, come here. Come on. Come on. You can have a bond with your familiar that is unlike any other, and they don't have to be innately all up in your face. They choose the connection. So, and you can get your familiar in magical ways, you can get them in pretty practical ways, but I knew that she was mine because I actually put a black cat on my vision board. And at the time I was like, I don't know how this is gonna come up. She's right here. But she came, and I had just waited for the right time, and there she was. So, and she teaches me how to have unconditional love. And she knows what she wants, and she will tell you. So, and she has her own little personality and her own little quirks. And she's so funny. She gives me such laughter. And in the evening, when they're supposed to be hunting, she will go out, and I call it gargoyle mode. And she will just be running around the house, doing everything. I'm like, oh, she's in gargoyle mode. She's got the nargles with her. So it's interesting because each familiar has their own little personalities. And you can see here that she has a little marking on her. And this was with her when I got her. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I can tell that she was very feral when I got her. And I think that marking has something to do with that. But I've also seen her go out in the backyard under a full moon, and she is just basking under the moonlight. It's wild how connected she is to lunar energy. And I know that she has come here. I feel like she's also probably lived humanoid lives, because she gives me looks that I can understand. So when I walk in the room, she will nod her head, and that's her saying, hey, what's up? And she will give me eye contact that I can understand. So she closes her eyes and she will start to blink, and I know that that's natural cat behavior. But you can just feel connections with familiars in different ways than you would just a normal pet. So if you find a familiar or you manifest a familiar, know that they will come in the exact time that they deem fit. So don't rush the process. Know that it is a soul bond, and it is a soul connection. And it's interesting because with her, she is very much, she's attached to me. She loves my husband, but when we have lap time, he will have his lap going with the blanket, and I'll be doing whatever, and she'll go over to his lap, and then when I get mine situated, she will come over and just plop in my lap. She's like, yep, this is home. So it's just a supernatural bond, and it is one where you can feel a big difference when they do decide to leave. When Bruce left, again, that was the biggest grief that I've ever felt in my life. And she was right there with me, helping with that in-between stage. And I know that, and even with Bruce, I've had visitations from him multiple times, and I will see little Batman symbols, like down the road, somebody has a Batman logo, and I know that that's him saying, hey mom, I'm good, I'm here. But I remember he also came in a dream where I was sleeping and it was all rearranged. So in the dream, in my altar room, he used to lay on this papasan chair that I had, but everything was like kind of rearranged and there was a reflection happening. So I looked in the reflection and I saw him there, and then I looked over to where he was supposed to be and he wasn't there. And I looked back at the reflection, he was there. And then I looked back again in the space where he was supposed to be and he was there. So to me, that was him saying, even if you can't see me, I am still here. I am still working with you. I still love you. And he is such a big light in my life, even to this day. So your familiars have soul bonds and soul contracts with you that even transcends this physical life. So know that this bond is serious and they are here to aid you in your magical practices, but also in your spiritual and emotional growth. They teach you unconditional love. So, and then my snake, Lydia, I got her at a reptile show, and I knew that she was mine because Stevie Nicks was playing and I saw her, and I think she was the only female, and she was in this little like tub thing, and I was like, oh, she's so cute. And then I pick her up and hold her, and she was just vibing. She was, kind of doing her thing all over. And I was like, yeah, I feel like she's mine. So trust the connection when it does come, and know that it is a connection that transcends lifetimes. So, but if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please tell me about your familiars in the comments. I would love to hear about them and their amazingness and how they've helped you in your life, because it's an amazing connection. So, but I hope this video helped you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Blessed be.